Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking about everything you could ever want to know about pricing, about rates, about quotes, about why one car might move quickly while another does not, how to move a car ASAP. Also going to be talking about how to move a car on a budget and also bringing it all together full scope, because really it's all interlinked. Your scheduling, your pricing, your timing, what kind of car you're trying to move, the route you're on. It's all very much interlinked in a very pragmatic way, and we're going to try to discuss all of those things in this clip. Rate projections, quotes, are the prices guaranteed? This is where everybody gets tripped up. They don't understand the process very well. So, okay, here's how it works, all right? The rate projections that you see on airride.com when you input your info into our calculator, or maybe we emailed you a quote after we took a look at the market, what you have to realize is, first and foremost, we do not determine the market pricing, okay? Our fee is always that flat fee of either $89 or $125 if you're trying to move it enclosed. Beyond that, what we are trying to do is give you a close proximity as to what rate it will likely take to get that unit moved in real time, okay? It is very much a market based on supply and demand of loads out of an area versus trucks trying to move cars out of an area. And these rates do fluctuate slightly every single day. Usually not by like hundreds of dollars or anything, but I mean, some routes are a little harder to predict than other routes. But the most common way we are doing this is we are looking at the current loads on all national load boards to see what other vehicles are available for carriers to pick up within, like on a similar route that you're trying to move your car on. And we look at where those rates are, and we can see what orders have been picked up and actually got moved at different pricing levels within the last couple of weeks. So essentially, if there's 35 cars coming out of Phoenix, Arizona, trying to be moved to Miami, and they're all paying $1,000, well, it would be quite stupid of us to tell you, give you a quote of 900 or 800, because it's just not going to move the vehicle, because there's so many loads sitting at $1,000 currently, okay? So that's kind of how we project where that trucking rate is going to take, and we relay that information to you. Our fee is only the $89 fee up front to book the order, and then what we are doing is we will relay you options to move that order that are typically within $100 or so of whatever we've quoted you online through our calculator, or if we emailed you like I mentioned. So that's how that works. And then once you sign off and give us the green light on a final dispatch, we dispatch out that order for transport. That rate becomes locked in, becomes final, and that is exactly what you'll pay on delivery. But you have to, the notion that rate, guarantees on the front end and that sort of thing they're just not possible in this industry, and anybody telling you that they are is just completely lying to you, because that's not how the industry works. We cannot guarantee rates for our own vehicles if we wanted to ship them. It works in the exact same fashion. There's thousands of cars moving every single day all over the country. Trucks have their pick as to what loads they want to take and do not want to take. And so you have to be in that competitive spot to actually get your vehicle moved. Otherwise, your car will just be way down in the listings on the load boards, and no one's going to take the vehicle. It's just going to sit there and sit and sit. And that's another reason why we distinguish what we charge, the $89 or $125, from the actual trucking rate. Because if you go to another website, okay, just whatever transport site, they're going to spit out a full-blown quote, but the problem is you don't know how much money they're actually taking for themselves out of that quote. We're telling you right up front, this is what we think it's going to take at market to move. You already know what we're charging. So, I mean, there's no guessing game here. We have no interest in quoting you a lower or higher number, because whether you're moving a car for 100 miles, that's a $200 transport, or you're moving a car from San Francisco to Maine, I mean, we're charging the same amount on every order. So our only goal here is to give you the most accurate rate projection we can. That's it. And that final number goes to the trucking company. It does not go to us. and you will typically pay that on delivery when the car arrives to you at its destination. The only fee you pay up front to book the order is that flat fee. That's it, the 89 or 125 bucks. Nothing beyond that is paid until the vehicle is delivered to the destination. And typically at this point in time, you can usually pay for that final trucking rate on delivery with cash, cashier's check, Zelle, or Cash App. Those have all been widely adopted by most trucking companies. If you haven't heard of Zelle, it's a very good app. Chase and Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they all have the app. You can download it. It's very simple. And you can make the payment digitally. You don't have to be there. You could have a friend accept the car, and you can make that payment through Zelle, Chase, whatever you want to do through that app. And Cash App is another one. A lot of people want to pay credit card. The easiest way for us is you just pay that trucking company directly with your card if you want to pay digitally. So in most cases, we recommend you just make the $89 or $125 payment initially to book that order. Now, a few other points of consideration when it comes to rate projections, okay? By far and away, the top one's gonna be, how do I get this car moved at a cheaper rate? How can I get this car moved at the cheapest possible rate I possibly can, okay? Now, the way to do this, the only way to do this is two factors. One, you're gonna wanna have a very big window. So what I mean by that is like a Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday of full open availability where that car can be loaded at any point in time, okay? 1 to 2 weeks is fantastic. That's probably the best way to do it, okay? But a lot of people are under the misconception that if they book the order way in advance, like 2 or 3 months out, that's gonna save them money like an airline ticket, but that's just not the way the industry works. What's more critical is how big that window is, because that widens up the number of options that you're likely going to have to get the vehicle moved. And with more options means likely there's going to be at least one option in there that's cheaper than other options. So that's how you can make that happen. Scheduling in advance is likely not going to make any difference if it's 3 days out, 3 weeks out, or 3 months out, because that's not the most crucial factor in getting the best rate. In fact, in many cases, to get something booked way in advance, you're going to need to overpay, because trucks really don't know where they're going to be in 3 months. They have no idea. So for them to commit to an order 3 months out, only way they even do that, only way it even makes sense is if it's a huge payday and then they mark it on their calendar, blah, blah, blah. That's the only time they're ever going to do that, because what are they going to go out of their way for if it's not a big payday? It's just not. Okay. So secondly, biggest question people ask, how to move these cars ASAP. Some people want to move the car immediately, like within 48 hours. Okay. There's something called juicing the order that we speak about on YouTube. Okay. So if you get a quote and the quote's at 1,000, well, maybe 1,000 moves the car within 3 to 4 days, which is typically what we're trying to get done. 2 to 4 days, we try to get these units loaded from within that first available date that you indicate on the order when you book the order. But if you want it picked up in 24 hours or less, or 48 hours or less, we will juice the order for you. And really what that means is we will price the order out so that you're basically at the top of the market within that area and on that route. So if there's multiple units coming out of an area, like there always is, you're going to need to be way at the top of the market out of that area to move that rapidly. And so that's what we do. We start bumping the price higher and higher until we locate a truck that wants to come grab that order. And by upping the price, you're expanding the amount of options to get it moved rapidly, because a truck that might be 3 hours or 4 hours away that saw that order at $900 and didn't really want it, well, now that it's at $1,200, now it's worth it for him to come get it. So that's how you can move something ASAP. And actually, there's another point between cheap rates and moving something ASAP, and that is location. If you're in a non-favorable location and you move that car to a more favorable location, that will also help move the car faster and potentially cheaper. So if you're away in the middle of nowhere, outside the area of Wisconsin, like maybe 30 minutes outside of Milwaukee, you move the car closer to Milwaukee or Chicago, it's going to move the car faster. If you're in North Minnesota, you move the car to Minneapolis, it's going to move the car faster and cheaper. So those are the points of on those two things. The last one is going to be, some people like have a very crazy car like a McLaren or a Ford GT or something. They want the highest quality carrier they can find. They want the best. They want the cream of the crop. Great, no problem. Like, we know all the players in this game. If you want the best, you want the highest quality, what you have to do, number one, is got to be patient. You can't be cheap, okay? We can source those. Usually if people call us, they're like, hey, Wes, we want like the best we can find. We don't want any nonsense on this order. We won't even put them on load boards. We cherry pick the company completely. We have a huge amount of carriers we know that do different routes, that have top of the line equipment. But what it comes down to is you're going to have to wait probably a couple of weeks, 1 to 3 weeks. You're going to have to pay what they want to move it. It's still like competitive. I mean, we're not trying to gouge anybody, but the better carriers want more money. So we will source it out, make some phone calls, and we will cherry pick those companies for you. It's no big deal. We do it all the time for people. We just did one from like, I think San Antonio to Naples, did another GT kit car from like LA to Houston or something. I mean, we do it all the time, okay? Because there are people that want like the highest of high quality. And we know a lot of companies that you've never heard of that have better stuff than Reliable, better stuff than Inner City. We know a lot of them, and there's a lot of them out there, okay? But you just have to ask for that. And you're gonna have to be patient and not be super concerned that it's going to be a little bit of a higher rate to get that done on better trucks. So that is everything about the rate projections. Hopefully that gives you guys a huge amount of info on the basic rundown as to how that works. But at the end of the day, you're booking the order, you're paying 89 bucks and 125 bucks to book it with us, and then that projection is a projection that you see on the rate screen. And usually it's very close to where the car moves at. But we send you those options and you make that final call before we dispatch it out. So it's not like you're going to end up with a random rate here, random rate there. We send you the options that we find that we can locate to move it within the dates you're wanting. And then you give us a green light or a red light. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Yes, I do want to do that. And yeah, there's no doubt that some routes are harder to predict than others. Okay, if you're in, Nantucket or Niagara Falls, New York, or somewhere up in Vermont or Maine, you're trying to ship it to like Minot, North Dakota. I mean, you got to be realistic here. I mean, there's not a whole lot of trucks doing those routes. But if you're going Boston to Kansas City, Hartford, Connecticut to San Diego, I mean, or Dallas to Seattle, I mean, major city to major city, usually the rate projections we give you are going to be pretty accurate, okay? All right, that should do it for this video. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Be sure to check us out on airride.com if you're watching this video on YouTube, or shoot us a text at 913-215-3113. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. We will see you guys on the next one. Happy hauling.